Well, friends of Mundo Maldini, what a spectacular match we were treated to by Liverpool and Manchester United, ending in a 2-2 draw. This was meant to be the image of the match. This image of Mohamed Salah was meant to be the image of the match. Here we have him sitting after scoring a penalty at Anfield on 2nd January. He had scored on 2nd January in Liverpool against Manchester United. There are many things about the match. There is a lot to analyze about the match. But Salah has scored 18 goals. Yusen was already the league's top scorer. He has 18 goals already, and he has already scored 13 goals against Manchester United, the player who has scored the most goals against Manchester United, as well as 6 assists. Salah had a good game. He wasn't the best player in the game. He wasn't the best player for Liverpool. I want to talk about many things. I want to discuss Ryan Gravenberch, the centre-back pairing that has been outstanding. I want to talk about McAllister, the final penalty, what the team did, and also about Slot, who had a fantastic match. Here we have Slot, and the sensational match that Manchester United played, especially in the second half, with Bruno Fernandes performing at a high level. In short, there's a lot to see from this Liverpool 2, Manchester United 2, and many questions that we will try to answer. All right, let's get started. Well, let's go, friends of Mundo Maldini, while we look at this photo from today of Lund, who, by the way, I like much more than Sir Højlund, and of Arnold. We have to ask ourselves quite a few things. All right, let's go. All right, let's go. Friends of Mundo Maldini. While we look at this photo from today of Lund, who, by the way, I like much more than Sir Højlund and Arnold, we need to ask ourselves quite a few things. Is Manchester United really such a bad team to be where they are? Because they are closer to the relegation zone than to the European zone? Well, obviously not. Today it became quite clear that they don't have very good players, and they showed great character, as they demonstrated. Do I think they were better today than they were against City, even though City ended up winning? I think they were better today, but it's an obvious question. This team has to go up. Is Liverpool going to drop in performance compared to the Liverpool we've seen in recent matches? Is the team's level going to drop? I think they are bound to drop a little at some point. By the way, here we have Ugarte and Konate, who had a sensational match. And then I want to talk about Arnold. We're going to discuss a lot of things like Gakpo, the centre-back pairing for Liverpool, Arnold, the tactical change, how the team is adapting to it, and how Manchester United is handling this tactical shift with Ruben Amorim, which we are going to analyze now because clearly the tactical change is very important. Here are today's starting 11. Alisson in goal with Arnold, Konate, Van Dijk, and Robertson. Gravenberch and McAllister, double pivot, very good match from McAllister. Carthy Jones, who I liked less today, wasn't Soboslai, by the way. He wasn't even on the bench, which surprised me. Gakpo on the left, Salah on the right, and Luis Diaz as the centre forward, who hasn't been performing well. I commented on the match on Movistar. I preferred to wait to give you this analysis here for your channel when I got home a little later, but I wanted to do it calmly with the photos and everything we have set up in the studio because I just came from Movistar, obviously, where I was commenting on the match. In goal for United, we had Onana and the 3-man defense with De Ligt, Maguire, and Lisandro. Maguire had the winning goal in the last moments of the match. Although they should have drawn the lines because Sersian might have been offside. Ugarte and May, right? Double pivot with Diallo, Bruno Fernandes, and today Lund. The second part of Bruno Fernandes has been memorable, honestly. The second part of Bruno Fernandes has been memorable. The match that he put on in the second half was absolutely spectacular. This man we're seeing here, Bruno Fernandes, is a player who excites me. I've said it many times. When he arrived at Manchester United, he turned the team around. I mentioned it during the broadcast today. He dropped back a few meters in the final stretch when Garnacho came on. In the second half, he put on a masterclass of passing, just like in the few minutes we saw from Sir. I don't think it's justified for Højlund to start over, Sir. In Manchester United, Sir is a better player than Højlund. Højlund is a good forward, aggressive, and worked hard off the ball. That's all. But I feel, friends of Mundo Maldini, that Sir is a better footballer than Højlund. He had a clear chance because they were looking for him in space, but he missed it in the one-on-one. In Manchester United, Cersei is a much better player than Højlund. Højlund is a good forward, very aggressive, and he works hard off the ball. But the feeling I have, Mundo Maldini friends, is that Cersei is clearly a better footballer than this man, Højlund. He had very clear chances they sought him in space, but he missed it in the one-on-one. Technically, Cersei is quite superior, and he showed that today, and he practically demonstrates it every time he comes on. He had a very clear chance because they were looking for him a lot in space, but he missed it in the one-on-one. Technically, Cersei is quite superior, and he showed that today during the time he was on the pitch, and he practically demonstrates it every time he comes on. Playing the two together, we already know what happened the other day against Newcastle. The other day against Newcastle, what he did was put both of them together up front, Irsi and Højlund, and it was a total mess. The midfield had to quickly take Cersei out after half an hour to bring in Mainu and solidify the midfield a bit more. Mainu is a player who is really very important for Manchester United. We have this image where he tripped in the snow, and by the way, the match was almost not played which would have been a shame because the second half was memorable. As I put in the thumbnail, memorable, wonderful. It was a grand spectacle that especially the Manchester United and Liverpool teams offered us in the second half. I said during the broadcast, and I'll say it here, that for Manchester United, the key was to hold back, not to push too high up, because in a one-on-one, in the back and forth, Liverpool has everything to lose, and above all, to wait for this man to be able to cause some damage. Diallo. Why? Because it's clear that Arnold is a pretty weak player defensively. It's the truth. Arnold is a player. Here we have it. This photo is significant. Arnold right behind Laut, and unable to catch up with him. I was saying, why doesn't he put Garnacho in? Well, he doesn't put Garnacho in because obviously Arnold can hurt you in attack, especially with Mohamed Salah on the field. So he needs a wing back who can cause damage in the back and forth and exploit Arnold's side. By the way, Diallo's goal, the equalizer at 2, he wasn't even at the full back position. Arnold had to come out to intercept with that and arrived late, logically. Offensively, Arnold gives you a lot. I'm not saying he doesn't. He gives you a ton offensively, but defensively, he gives you very little. He takes away more than he adds. Here we have Carthage Jones and Mainu. Mainu had a good game. I like Carthage Jones a bit less. But above all, United managed to control Liverpool a lot in the first half. Liverpool has only shot once on target, which was a fantastic save by Onana from a shot by McAllister, and they countered and arrived with quite a bit of danger. Why Gakpo? Here we have him. He clearly plays on the left. Why did he put Luis Diaz as a center forward? Because he knew that at some point United would push forward, just like they did against Real Madrid and Bayer Leverkusen, against teams they consider to be of a higher level, or that could complicate things for them because they push up. And United is clearly a better team than what they are showing individually. A player like Luis today showed that he can create space and cause more damage than Darwin Núñez, who, by the way, made a play that could have cost him. It was a yellow card, but the play was quite ugly. I think it was with the list, if I'm not mistaken, a pretty nasty play. Gakpo scored a great goal when the game was most complicated. For Liverpool, why? Because United realized in the second half that they could do a lot of damage. They began to control the game much more, and the goal came. What a wonderful pass from Bruno Fernandes. What a game Bruno had. What an exhibition. Let's see if I have time tomorrow. I'm heading to Saudi Arabia to commentate on the Super Cup, but my flight is in the afternoon. So hopefully I have a quiet morning to make a video report about this match because it definitely deserves it. The pass from Bruno Fernandes is marvelous, and Lisandro hits it with everything, with all his soul, to score that goal that made it 1-0 for United. It's true that Liverpool managed to come back without playing exceptionally well. The comeback came before Liverpool's game improved. That's the truth in the second half, because they weren't playing that well. Gakpo's goal came from a play where he was close to being offside, but was onside, and then a wonderful finish from Gakpo. I honestly think, here's Gakpo's finish, you can see it. He cuts past the defender, takes the little Yusan down, right Adeli, who he takes down, and then he places it in the top corner. Jonah couldn't do anything at all. And it's true that Liverpool, with a lot of speed and intensity, had generated some danger in the first half, but only one shot on target. And in the second half, Manchester United was controlling the game much more. The penalty, which many of you might be thinking about, is a clear penalty. Here we have the handball. It's a shot from McAllister, who, by the way, had a very good game as well. He's an aggressive player, technically skilled, with good interior passes and good off-the-ball pressure, a complete player. The penalty is clear because what Dijk does, as you can see here, is stretch out his arm. You can see it clearly. He stretches out his arm, and it's a very clear handball that costs him the penalty and leads to Mohamed Salah's goal, which honestly seemed to seal the match. Why did it seem to seal the match? Here we have Mohamed Salah, who put on quite a show, by the way. After the goal, we'll see if he stays at Liverpool or not, but he is definitely a true legend. A Liverpool legend still active in the team because United has shown more than once that they don't have much capacity to react. It happened against Wolverhampton the other day. It happened against Newcastle at home the other day at Old Trafford. Already matches where they were struggling, but it's true that they pushed forward, the equalizer came, and the final stretch was wonderful. The final stretch of the match was absolutely wonderful, with both teams looking for the win, almost achieving it with some shots from Liverpool. We also have Diallo here, by the way, who scored the equalizer at 2. The match was also close to being decided with that last play from Maguire, and it all ends in a draw, in an absolutely fantastic game that leaves a lot of things quite clear. First, that United has the potential to be much higher than where they currently are. They've won at the Etihad against City. They've drawn and could have won at Anfield against Liverpool, the team in the best form in Europe. Second, that Arnold attacks much better than he defends. We already knew that, but in these matches against big teams, it becomes very clear. They have won at the Etihad against City. They have drawn and could have won at Anfield against Liverpool, the team in the best form in Europe. Secondly, Arnold attacks much better than he defends. We already knew that, but in these matches against big teams, becomes very clear. Third, Bruno Fernandes, wherever he plays, is a key player for Manchester United. Absolutely essential for Manchester United. These are things I'm sharing, and I would like you to tell me your opinion. Fourth, this man we see here with Salah. Van Dijk has returned to his best level. This Liverpool defense they've conceded 2 goals, but with Van Dijk. And Konate, it's a team that's almost impenetrable, to be honest. Not much from Luis Diaz in the attack, but McAllister is a fantastic player. However, in my opinion, the man of the match is Bruno Fernandes, the Manchester United player who was truly spectacular. United has the players to be higher up. They have a coach, as he proved at Sporting in Portugal. We'll see what happens from now on. It doesn't change much for either team in terms of the standings. It doesn't change much for Liverpool, who still have a lot of room to maneuver with 1 game less, nor for Manchester United, who are in the lower mid-table. But it should change their momentum. I think this point should clearly change their momentum. And lastly, we must have seen the last match at Anfield against United, with United's nemesis Mohamed Salah wearing the Liverpool jersey. It's quite likely, not certain, but quite likely. Tomorrow I'm heading to Saudi Arabia, and you're going to have quite a few surprises during the Arab week that I'll be there. A hug. Bye.